this thing is not real. The next news yesterday, they say, let me read what they say first, and then we're gonna go into it. Well, let me give from the beginning. Let me try to get some sequence so that we can follow what is going on. For the longest while, we have been saying on this program that an allegation is made that a senior police officer attempted to launder $16.5 million through the police credit union. We said that here. $16.5 million, cash Guyana currency in two plastic bag, was sent to be deposited in his credit union account. The people there, recognizing that something was amiss, I think they returned the money. They returned the $16.5 million. And after then, I think all hell broke loose because the people were then, those who were in charge there, were transferred. They were moved out the place, and all kind of things happen. They are being, up to now, they are being victimized, and they are being bullied, and the thing going on. For the longest while, we called for an investigation on this speaking out. We said that such a damning allegation against a senior police officer, the man in charge of admin, who is the de facto second in command of the force, such an allegation required a very an investigation, a credible investigation. Now they jump around, they ain't saying anything. Now then the thing hit social media about the same $60 million deposit. And then they when the thing hit social media, the police gave a statement. Let me read what the police said. The police statement said, consequent to allegations of financial impropriety leveled against Deputy Commissioner Acting Calvin Brutus on social media and established media houses. This is the wrong one. The first one, the police said, they came out to say that there was no such allegation and all of that. And on Wednesday, I think it was, there was an activity at the Marriott. And when the acting commissioner of police was questioned by Dennis Shabal from Demerara Waves, he said, and this is the article I'm reading, acting commissioner of police Clifton Ikin on Wednesday dismissed social media posts that senior police officer attempted to deposit $16.5 million in the Guyana Police Cooperative Credit Union. And the court here said, no, it is not true. And I made a release already, Mr. Ikin told Demerara Waves Online News. While he insisted that such a release was made and it's in the system, there is no record of such a document among the media bulletin. The police commissioner stressed that there is no investigation going on whatsoever and that there were no deposits into the credit union's account. Nothing whatsoever. That is what he's quoted as saying. When asked to comment on the social media post, the high-ranking senior police officer in question opted to remain silent. The purported deposit was supposed to have been made on December the 15th, 2023 as a loan repayment along with interest. Now here, let me walk you through before bringing Mr. Conway. This allegation was floating around a long time that the senior, the name is there now, that Assistant Commissioner Calvin Brutus attempted to launder 16.5 million Guyana dollars through the police credit union. The money was initially accepted and then returned. On Wednesday, when this was, the thing started to float on social media. And on Wednesday, when Dennis Shabal from Demerara Waves asked the acting commissioner Clifton Ikin about this matter on the sidelines of an event at the Marriott, he denied. One, he denied that any such transaction took place. He also denied that an investigation was going on. And then let me read again. Then the following day, all a while, bear with me. The following day, that is yesterday, Dennis Shabal again from Demerara Waves posted one of his releases, and it says here, records prove police commissioner wrong about deputy commissioner's multi-million-dollar deposit in the police credit union. Well, I know Dennis and them are, he's a journalist and he chooses to use perhaps decent language. He said, records prove police commissioner wrong. Well, I can put my own word. The records prove that the acting police commissioner was lying. Not wrong. The records prove that he was lying. And here what the article goes on to say. One day after acting police commissioner Akin denied that the high-ranking police officer ever deposited tens of millions of dollars into the Guyana Police Credit Union account, fresh information has surfaced showing that the money was deposited and returned to that officer. The officer, Deputy Police Commissioner Calvin Butas, on Wednesday opted to remain silent when he was questioned in person by Demerara Waves online news at the Marriott Hotel. In response to the question of whether any deposit had been made, Mr. King said, quote, nothing whatsoever. But Demerara Waves online news has seen official credit union documents showing that $16.5 million was allegedly deposited into Mr. Butas's credit union account on December 15, 2023 as a loan repayment with interest. Documents also show that the source of the funds was stated as wedding gifts prior, during, and after the reception. Records also show that on the 16th of December 2023, the transaction was cancelled. Cash payment, and this is quote, cash payment transaction was cancelled and money in the sum of $16.5 million was returned to member on the 16th of December 2023. However, the original receipt was not returned to the police credit union. The anti-money laundering and countering of financial terrorism regime requires financial institutions to know your customers and flag all suspicious transactions to the Financial Intelligence Unit, which, if necessary, will refer them to the Police Force Special Organized Crime Unit for investigation. According to a financial sector regulatory source, an industry source further explained that Bank of Guyana rules state that financial institutions are prohibited from accepting deposits of $2 million or equivalent in any other country if they cannot be supported by documentation to prove source of funds. If the source cannot be relied on, the deposit cannot be accepted, the source added. The police commissioner said there was no investigation and that he had issued a statement on the matter. None was seen in any of the police media bulletin up to Wednesday night. That is what this release said. None was seen. And let me give you the next one now, the last one before I bring in Mr. Conway. Is there the other one here which says now, yesterday, consequent to allegations of financial impropriety levels against Deputy Commissioner Acting Calvin Brutus on social media and establishment houses, Calvin Brutus has since requested permission to proceed on annualized vacation leave with immediate effect to facilitate an investigation in the best interest of the Guyana Police Force. Permission was granted by the Commissioner of Police through the prescribed procedure. Now we get a lot to unpack here. We have a lot to unpack. But before I go forward, I think it's only fair. I can't take all the button. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on what I just read. CC, my brother, let me hear what you got to say about this story, man.
All right. Let me lay the foundation and try to put things in proper context, even though I might repeat some of the things that you said. I know the extended squatter for a long time, maybe since he joined the force. And I recall when the previous government had banished him, sent him to the Ministry of Citizenship under Winston Felix to count Venezuelans in region 1, 7, and 8. We talked. And he told me, he boasted in front of several persons. He said that the Granger government was a one-term government. And the PPP is going to win the next election. And Barra Jagdeo told him that when he wins the election, he's going to make him Commissioner of Police. He was correct then. He spoke the truth. He didn't lie. But on this investigation that is going on now, he has not spoken the truth. He lied. And then we're saying that nothing, there isn't any report there. We've been clamoring all the time for months and months and months, be talking about it. And he jump on and say, hey, no, nothing of the kind. And at the same breath, he said he didn't do any investigation. If you don't do any investigation, how can you find out? How can you know what is happening? We've been asking for investigation. And to put it in proper context, here is what we got. The allegations are that Brutus, and I'm saying allegations, sent for a senior person from the police credit union and told that person that, look, you got some money that he wants to deposit in the credit union. According to the person, he pulled his bottom drawer, took out 2 black plastic bags. We call them scandal bags. In Jamaica, they call them scandal bags. I remember in my groundings with some of my friends in Jamaica, there's an officer that is called Scandal. He always with a scandal bag. $16 million. He gave our clear instructions. Look, 50 million in my account and 1.5 as interest. The person took the money to the credit union, wrote a receipt, and subsequently the person in charge of that credit union wasn't there. And when the person came back, person, no, this thing can't happen. No, it cannot happen. How could we account? How could we bank that money? How could we bank that money? And how could we bank that money? And they send back the money with the receipt. And he had a big meeting. The squatter called them together, and the meeting was nice. And they transfer persons there, transfer them from the credit union. And they subsequently brought a woman from the public service credit union, a civilian, and she's still there, and placed her in charge there. And we've been asking for an investigation. And here is it, the receipt. We have copies of the receipt. The receipt is there. Brutus' name is there. The sergeant who signed for the receipt, or our signature is there. And yet still the squatter denying that that no transaction took place. Look the receipt there. Look at there. Brutus' name at the bottom there. Brutus regulation number there. And it's there in clear, simple language, DC. Calvin Brutus, DC, and they put his number there. And that money was large, but it was subsequently given back to Brutus because they said they can't justify carrying it to the bank. A clear case of attempting to launder money. But the squatter is saying it ain't happen. But now he has a about turn, and they said they're sending Brutus on leave pending investigation. But more about that. You take over from there, and I come on back, Paul.
And this here speaks about the source of income, the source wedding gifts, prior, during, and after reception. That is what is there. And the evidence is there. And in the face of this, again, this is the receipt that Mr. Conway is referring to. So we have the receipt is there, $16.5 million. And it says 15, and look, it's savings 15 and interest $1.5 million. And then the notation in the next slide says source of funds, wedding gifts, prior, during, and after reception. And then the address, 28 Aslington New Scheme, East Coast Demerara. I understand that is an address of Brutus, is there. And what is blanked out here is his ID number. His ID number and other identification information. So for the squatter to say that this thing never took place in the face of evidence, you want to tell me the acting commissioner of police would not have seen or would not have heard that these things are around, that this information is there? But when it comes to lying, that is what they do. Ikin himself. This is not a forced, according to somebody, it's not a forced rodeo. One will remember, if you don't remember, let me remind you, or let me tell you, that when they had the Linden Commission of Inquiry into the killing of those 3 Lindeners, Ikin was the officer in charge in the ground when those persons were shot and killed. They had a commission of inquiry. Ikin was called to give evidence at that commission of inquiry. And during the questioning, he's given evidence on oath. And when it was put to him, he said that he never had a telephone conversation with the Minister of Home Affairs, Clement Roy, during a particular time frame. He said on oath he never had such a conversation. The people at the inquiry subpoenaed the record from the telephone company, and it showed that he did, during that specific period, had a conversation with Minister Clement Roy. When Clement Roy took to the stand sometime after that to give sworn testimony, Roy admitted in evidence that Ikin did call him during the specific time frame, which Ikin denied. He committed perjury. He committed perjury. He lied on oath, and nothing happened. And there's only one occasion, one instance, I'm telling you, he lied on oath. Or he died in what they would call distinguished company. Because only recently we have to point out this program that the president himself, remember, he said when the Mohammeds were sanctioned, he said that he never used the vehicle belonging to the Mohammed after he was sworn in as president. And we presented evidence here to show that the vehicle had the presidential crown, the crest on it. So therefore, it was after he was sworn in, it was there. And then you get Vice President Jack Dew on a recent Thursday program, again lied when he spoke about the Commission of Inquiry into the plot to assassinate President Granger. He said how officers, policemen were sent home. People were nothing of the sort. And I presented the evidence. And remember, I said all those who want copies of that report, send me email, and I will send it to you. And many people did send me their email addresses, and I sent the report to them. Nothing of the sort. No one was sent home. Then you had Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, who lied in an affidavit in the Police Service Commission case, when the case where the president unconstitutionally or lawfully suspended the Police Service Commission. Mark Phillips, the Prime Minister, had to give an affidavit in the matter. And he lied. He lied in the affidavit. I produced it here sometimes. So this lying thing comes naturally to them. They're just pathologically mendacious. They just lie. And the thing is, they lie and they are easily caught in these lies. Easily caught. Easy. Because when Ikin can tell you there is no investigation, there is no deposit of any $16.5 million, he must have known. Because in regards to the meeting that Mr. Conway talked about, when the money was returned, he summoned the meeting with the parties. So he know that this attempt was made, and to come now to lie. But I understand that they get the books and they tamper with the evidence and all of that. But receipts were already floating around the place. So I understand if you were to now go to get the receipt book, you're going to see page disappear and all of that. But remember, when you have a receipt, they have sequential numbers. So if you're going from one number to the next, and then all of a sudden, for example, let me put it back here. I think this receipt, hold a while. This receipt had a number. It has a number. So that when you see this number is missing, you know right away tampering took place. You know tampering took place. That is how stupid, that is how criminal these people are. So, and they lie, as I've said, they lie, and they are caught easily in these lies. Now, let me go back to this statement. I'm going to jump around a bit. We're dealing with the same issue, but we're going to jump around a bit because I want to deal with this release what the police gave yesterday to say that, first of all, Deputy Commissioner acting Let me make this clear. I see a lot of people referring to deputy commissioner. There is no deputy commissioner in the Guyana Police Force. That's right now. Let me understand it. The last deputy commissioner was Paul Williams, Dr. Paul Williams, and he retired early this year. There is no deputy commissioner. There is no acting deputy commissioner either. You have people who sits in the office of administration. They sit there in the office of operations. Those offices are usually held by deputy commissioners, but they are not. They're just carrying out the functions of those offices. I know the thing we pointed out before, because for my last 3 years in the force, 2008 to 2010, I sat in the office of the deputy commissioner of operations, and I carried out the functions as deputy commissioner of operations. I was never referred to check the records as a deputy commissioner because I was not. And let me say this too, because I recall when the challenge was made to the appointment of Clifton Ikin as commissioner, the Chief Justice in our ruling, when the issue about carrying out the functions and acting came up, the Chief Justice is, I think she said, she sees no difference between carrying out the functions and acting. And I wrote a letter to that. And I said that the Madam Chief Justice, with all due respect, was wrong. Because Article 212, I think it is, of the, no, 211, I think, spells out the process to appoint a commissioner of police and deputy commissioners in the substantive position or to act. And it says that the president should make the appointment, but he has to consult with the opposition leader, meaningful consultation with the opposition leader. The president also has to consult with the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who must first consult with the other members. So consultation, in order for you to act as deputy commissioner or commissioner, in order for you to be appointed in those posts, there has to be, according to the Article 211 of the Constitution, you have to have that consultation. Now, in the absence of that process, the people cannot be said to be acting or be substantive in the position. They are merely carrying out the functions of, as we said in the case of Api. Api sat there for a long period. He was never made to act. He was never appointed. He was merely carrying out the functions of the commissioner of police. So let's understand it. And even this morning, you look at Deputy Commissioner Brutus, and I see they're talking about Commissioner Ikin. There's no, Brutus has never or was never appointed as a deputy commissioner, either substantively or to act. Ikin has been appointed to act as commissioner of police. So his substantive rank is assistant commissioner of police, and he's acting commissioner of police. So I hope they would get this thing right, because one person from the media said to me, well, there's the release that the police cooperative communication is giving. But if they give a release, and you know it, some things to be factually wrong, they must correct them. Or you should not be carrying, you should not be propagating the falsehood. Correct them. So let me bring in, let me take our next piece of this. So I clarify that. And then he said he has since requested to go on leave. Not a thing. Brutus said request to go on leave. Brutus was sent on leave. Brutus was told to pack your things and go. That is what Brutus was told. Pack your things and go. I understand here and over yet. I understand that no handover has taken place as yet. So the office down at the West End that he occupied is locked. And the man who's carrying out the functions of administration is operating from his original office. And the man who's appointed to act as to carry the functions at operations, I understand he's still operating from Cross at the flat building there. That is the information received. So he didn't ask to go on leave. He was told to pack your things and go on leave. And I said, and over yet. Well, we'll see how that will go. We will see how that will go. And then the next part of it, they said he gone off to facilitate vacation leave with immediate effect to facilitate an investigation in the best interest of the Ghana Police Force. Since when Brutus know the best interest of the Ghana Police Force? Since when? Since when? And I'm going to come back to that in a short while. And then they say the permission was granted by the Commissioner of Police through the prescribed procedure. Nonsense. Or as the man would say, nonsenseness. The Commissioner of Police do not grant leave for senior officers. When you want leave, I'm 37 years, and I became an officer in 1984. So I know what we are talking about. From 1984 to 2010, when I retired, I was an officer. You want leave, you apply through the force system, it goes to the Ministry of Home Affairs. It's the Ministry of Home Affairs that would approve leave for officers and inspectors in the force. It goes all the way to the Ministry of Home Affairs. So the Commissioner of Police, this thing where they say permission was granted by the Commissioner of Police through the prescribed procedure. What prescribed procedure? What prescribed procedure? Did he apply the prescribed procedure? Would have said that the person who wants leave has to make an application to go. You apply for your leave and you would say whether you want to spend it in Guyana or out of the country. You make that application. You make that application. Did Brutus make an application to go on leave? No. He was told to proceed on leave immediately. Now, let me understand this, folks. Once you hear somebody has to go on leave immediately, that is not a request. No one requests to go on leave immediately. That is not a request. That is an instruction. And let me say further before bringing Mr. Conway, that Akin can make the decision on his own to send Brutus on leave. Let me repeat, Akin, the acting commissioner, the extended squatter, can't decide on his own to send Brutus or any other senior officer on leave. That instruction has to come from elsewhere. It has to come from elsewhere. Before I continue with this leave thing, let me bring in Mr. Conway. Like take a piece of the button. Mr. Conway, this release of the police say about deputy commissioner acting, and then they talk about he gone leave in the interest of the Guyana police force, and the permission was granted through the prescribed procedure. What are your comments, my brother?
All right. Before I get into that, let me say some other things. I know lying has consequences, yeah, and perhaps Hicken was properly trained, or he following the pattern of his handlers, the president and the first vice president, who lying. So he came and said if they could lie, I was lying. Let me follow the leader. And let me just stress the point in terms of deputy commissioners. Because they're using the thing so loosely. And I have the constitution before me here. It's saying Article 211.1, Paul, you mentioned it, the commissioner of police and every deputy commissioner of police shall be appointed by the president after meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and chairperson of the police service commission after the chairperson has consulted with other members of the commission. Very, very pellucid. President, consultation with the leader of the opposition and chairperson of the police service commission who would have consulted with other members. We did that when we were on the board before we were unconstitutionally removed, where we recommended persons and the president consulted with us before he made the appointment. But when we look at deputy commissioners, and as you stated, the last deputy commissioner was Dr. Paul Williams. I think he came off in May month or somewhere around there. And therefore there are vacancies for a deputy commissioner admin, a deputy commissioner for CID, a deputy commissioner operations, a deputy commissioner for special branch, and some people saying that Suku should be the other Suku should be a deputy commissioner. So there are vacancies for deputy commissioners, but the president is making none of them. Perhaps he get confidence in them. He always start that when he go overseas, all the people praising the police, but he didn't say whether it was a junior or senior ranks. Here it is. Vacancies exist for 4 deputy commissioners, and all the president has to do is have meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairperson of the police service commission who would have consulted with other members. You ain't got to get approval, like in the case of appointment of a chancellor or a chief justice. But no, you ain't making nothing. And that's something you can't get wrong to, because when you look at the quality of those assistant commissioner, those pretenders, those who masquerading as deputy commissioner, and they masquerade as deputy commissioner, and they're wearing assistant commissioner rank, They say they're acting, but the rank they're wearing is assistant commissioner. And the president in a quagmire, you get difficulty because one of them, one of the pretenders or one of the aspirants, there are allegations of serious financial irregularities. Another one, he in charge of intelligence, but he can't give actionable intelligence. Another one, if they want to give a deputy commissioner, it, understand the US gonna take away visa, like how they take away any green visa. And one say, hey, he just take orders from the politicians and the appointments are political one, and therefore he can forget it. And another one is highly favored by Freedom House. And there are some others that they're not they're not looking into. Assistant Commissioner McBean, a man with since 2008 with a master's degree in global security and policing. Either in the black book, you go and study and then they knock you off. You appeal and you want his case, came back, and he's senior to all of them, but they're not bothered with it. He should have been the acting commissioner, not the squatter. So the and what is happening is that there is any unity there. There's no synergy among them. To use common term, they're fighting on Matty. They want to show up Matty. They're fighting for the pie. So this one will show, hey, I doing better than this one, or do things for let the one look bad. The synergy isn't there, and all because they're not making things. We got a current case going on right now, and I'm not carrying tears out of school between the head of the CID and the one in 4C. They're writing pages and pages and pages against one another in relation to display matters, and display matters is the Police Service Commission. And the squatter there, he ain't doing nothing. He ain't coming involved and put a stop in it. I see some horrible exchange of letters between the head of the CID and the commander 4C. And carbon copy to the squatter, and the squatter ain't doing nothing with it. So there goes the indiscipline. So in terms of deputy commissioner, there is no deputy commissioner. They're all assistant commissioner, and they're masquerading as deputy commissioner, and they're wearing the assistant commissioner badge rank. And don't tell me nonsense that Brutus asked to go and leave. Brutus was ordered to go and leave. And that's where you need to show power. They should have said, we have sent Brutus on leave pending the investigation of financial irregularity. We didn't say that he's guilty. We didn't say that he committed offense. There are serious financial allegations against him. And in order for the proper investigation, we have sent him, we have ordered him to go and leave. Brutus don't go up on leave, sir. During the last, I think, the election, Brutus went on leave, and he was recalled for election duty. And when after the election, he refused to go and leave. He refused to go and leave. He said he's saving the time to go to Wooden Law School to complete his law studies, and he did not go and leave. He ended up writing the ministry, and he ended up canvassing a member of parliament. We were on the Police Service Commission, where he was charged for canvassing a member of the National Assembly. So Brutus won't go along upon leave, so he refused to go upon leave. So the nonsense were talking that Brutus request. No, poppycock, Paul.
Yeah, I was also about to make the same point about Brutus and leave. And it wasn't the last election. This was the 2018 local government election, where he was in command of 4C. I don't think it was that then, it was C Division. And he was on leave. He had requested them. That's the last time he requested to go and leave. He had requested them to go and leave, and permission was granted. And then he was called out to oversee the management of the elections in that division. He came out, and when things quiet down, he was then instructed to proceed back on his leave, and he refused. I saw the letters, big exchange between himself and admin Paul Williams and Commissioner James, to the point where he became disrespectful, and the matter was referred to the Police Service Commission. You know, I tell you all about ingratitude, you know. I tell it was a witchcraft. The commission at the time which I chaired, Conway was a member, the other members, called him in and had a fatherly conversation with him because we advised him, boy, you're going wrong. You can't be doing this. Fatherly, we aren't calling him to give him trouble. We calling him and explained to him that you can't be writing letters like this, rude letters like that. We talked to the man came, you know, again, I say in gratitude, when he faced some problems, he spoke to the late Brian Joseph, Assistant Commissioner. Joseph called me and asked me to have a talk with him. And I agreed. He came to my residence in my living room. I sat him down and I spoke to him like a father, advised him what he should do. And the man turned back and joined these people who say, he's suing me and I defaming the character. Now, wonder what they're going to say now about this defamation character thing. Having regards to what has been revealed recently, a lot of the things we knew all along, this is not, as somebody says, not a forced rodeo. I mean, it might get big now. We talk about them millions and millions. But allegations were made. Allegations, I say, when he was in C Division in respect to people extra duty money. And then when he came to headquarters at admin, allegations again were made. Allegations that this is never investigated. That is the sadness. Allegations about cash advances for his secretary and his driver go in the interior. One of them is Christmas Eve. They said they're going to conduct investigation, hundreds of thousands of dollars advance. I wonder what the Auditor General and these people is do. Wonder how those advances were cleared. Wonder how those advances were cleared. Imagine a secretary, a female secretary, going to Orange Duke to conduct investigation. The driver going to Port Kaituma on Christmas Eve day to conduct investigation, signed off for $200,000 advance, and gave instruction, it is said, it is alleged, to the finance people, hey, whenever I approve anything where you see me signature in it, nobody must query it. Just draw the check and give the people them. All of those were allegations, and they are not investigated. Those things were never investigated, and therefore, what happened? Now you talk about $16.5 million. You're talking about 50-something million dollar property, and I have seen photographs of properties around the place that are set to be owned by this man. And don't forget, back in 2020, we were on the Police Service Commission when they used him and others to try to get rid of us, right? On the 23rd of December 2020, when I had that conversation with the president, and he asked about promotion for Brutus and Karimbash and these people, and I told him, well, no, they were not on the shortlist. He had seen the shortlist because Brutus, he was a senior superintendent then, said in an affidavit, Brutus signed an affidavit to say that the promotion shortlist of 2020 was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. It's dead on there in black and white. It's an affidavit then. And even though there is lie, I don't think he lied in the affidavit. It was in fact leaked to him. And based on the conversation he had with the president on the night of the 23rd of December, he would have known who were the people shortlisted. And then he might carry on at a rate. And then the whole thing went south from then after, because the very next day, the 24th of December 2020, Christmas Eve day, Robesman, that same Robesman, instructed Appy to have several police officers charged criminally. Several. Among them were people who were shortlisted. Shortlisted, I say, for promotion. And when the Service Commission met and continued the discussion, on the 30th of December 2020, Brutus moved to the High Court and filed an injunction to prevent the promotion from going ahead. You think these people are ordinary wicked? You think they're ordinary wicked? So when you see this thing coming out with karma, he filed an injunction. And when the injunction, he filed a fixed date application, when the application was thrown out on the 28th of June 2021 by the Chief Justice, the acting Chief Justice, she remarked in her ruling that she found Brutus to be self-serving. Those are part of the record. It's not slow saying so. In the court document, the Chief Justice said she found him to be self-serving because he was writing letters to his rivals, or words, that mine, to tell them that they were being investigated for criminal activities. Come on, you think it's too wicked and wicked? More is going to happen. I said, touch not the Lord's anointed. Karma is a bitch. Ingratitude is worse than witchcraft. And I can tell you, students, I can tell you that they are, well, if at all, people, the police are celebrating his removal. Say, go up on leave. Police celebrating. Police celebrating. The man is so, well, let's say, just call it the brutal Brutus. The brutal Brutus, or they call it Putin. That is what he ranks in the first refer to him as, either Putin or brutal Brutus. And people will tell you he's brutal. Man, unscrupulous. You can sue me again for saying that. Unscrupulous. This is a man who some years ago, I remember the incident well, an officer, he sent some instruction for the officer from Brigham to go to him. And the commander, they said, well, there's not a protocol because you can't just send for an officer like that. You have to talk to the commander. And the rank was advised not to go. He then used his admin power and transferred the rank from Brigham, even though the rank had just 1 week more before proceeding on retirement leave. 1 week more before proceeding on retirement leave, he transferred the person. He transferred the person. And the person did what any good old police will do. They're going the wicket. In case you people don't understand what I mean by going in the wicket, the person reported sick, got sick leave for the 1 week or whatever time, and then proceeded straight into pre-retirement leave. Wickedness, and those are only some of the things that I've pointed out. Who can forget, those of us who know, the big bacchanal in the office when the sergeant from construction apparently collect money and then give the right proportion, and when they found out, that's the allegation. People tell you about the big war up at the top there, cuss out, and then the sergeant was immediately transferred to somewhere in the interior, and all he said, wicked. Sheridan said, wicked, stink, and dirty. The story is going to be revealed. I got more to talk about. Let me bring in Mr. Conway before I go on. Let me take a little breather, bring in my brother, and then I'm going to come again. CC, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Paul, I'm happy that you didn't behave like Jack Doe in your living room, when you entertain a Brutus. And I recall, when we spoke with him at the Police Service Commission, like fathers and like mothers, there are some women, they're mothers to son. And I could recall advising him to read 2 books, Crucial Conversation and Crucial Confrontation. I said, if you can't find them, I have them, but I'm going to lend you one at a time. I'm going to lend you Crucial Conversation first, and when you finish with that, I'm going to lend you Crucial Confrontation. He didn't come back to me, and I don't know what happened, but he started to behave just as how he was behaving before we sent for him. But we need to stay some more on this financial irregularities, We heard even the minister mention about fraud, 200 million or 300 million at the police finance office, 300 million at the police quartermaster stores. And so far nothing. And to make the thing worse, because when you look at it, the admin man is in charge of financing the Guyana police force. And not only that, the PS Sum Affairs is the accounting officer, financial accounting officer. They can't cut no check unless they get the permission there. So what is happening with what happened? What is happening with the PSA now? Fraud, Guyana Police Force Finance Office, fraud at the quartermaster store, and we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars fraud and nothing. And then perhaps they need to look at the welfare, the police credit union, because and check and see senior officers, check and see their account, check and see how much money they get in the credit union. It might be very, very revealing. And they also be talking about financial literacy. They got a fund called the Police Welfare Fund, where the government don't audit it. There's their own private thing. And they have wrecked that welfare fund. Put us in charge of finance. And what they've been doing, I heard some men in the interior rejoicing because when they submit the accounts, they got to submit a bogus one. And they say the bogus one then going to them, going to the welfare fund, whether that is true or not. They're talking region 7, region 8, region 9. The ranks they're working and they submit the accounts for payment. They got put in a bogus one. And the bogus one, they say, gain to the finance office. And who is in charge of finance? The admin man is the man in charge of finance. So many financial irregularities going on in the place there. And coming back to the point of saying the accounting officer is the PS Ministry of Home Affairs. They need to widen the investigation and not only deal with the police credit union. And what they do too, they brought a woman who was in charge of the public service credit union and put she in charge of the police credit union. They own their friend. They bring she there so that she can do their biddings. A civilian is in charge. In Army of Police, the civilian is in charge of the police credit union. I don't call her name, but she's well known. And she's well known for the nonsense that she did with the police, with the public service credit union. And that is how the thing going. Share fraud, share irregularities, share corruption, left, right, and center. And who's going to investigate? You're going to ask Suku to investigate? Yeah? You're going to ask Suku to investigate? Suku has not yet, in all investigation, take a matter to trial and win. All but one finish at no case submission. And let me explain no case submission a bit, No case submission is after the prosecutor will bring his witnesses, present his witnesses, and they give evidence. They'll be subject to cross-examination by the defense if required, and re-examination by the prosecution if required. And re-examination is based on what played out at cross-examination. And when the prosecution say, hey, this is my case, I don't have any other witness to call, I don't have any evidence to tender, so this is my case. At that stage, the magistrate will ask the defense, do you wish to make any no case submission? Say, yes, there's no case for the client to answer because of A, B, or C, or sometimes because of A. And then the prosecutor will respond. If the magistrate agrees with an no case submission, the case gone down the drain. If the magistrate does not agree with an no case submission, the magistrate will call for a defense and he will establish what I call the statutory caution. You'll tell the defendant you can stand there and remain silent. You can give evidence upon oath will be subject to cross-examination, re-examination if required, and you can call witnesses to testify on your behalf. But if you're going to testify first, it's you first and then your witnesses. And then after then they'll have addresses from both sides and the magistrate will rule. The only case that they pass no case submission is the one where they accuse Anil Nanalal of thieving law books. And the master said there is a case for him to answer. And he jumped to the courts and the courts turned it down. And then lo and behold, the government changed and the politically inclined DPP null crossed the matter. So I wouldn't like to hear Suku come in and investigate, because Suku's reputation is that all the person they charge, the case finishing at no case submission, or the DPP will null pros. Over to you, Paul.
Well, yeah, I agree with you in terms of Soku investigating. Who will investigate this matter? They can't send it to OPR. the Office of Professional Responsibility, because it is not a disciplinary investigation. It is a criminal investigation. And by law, let me understand this thing clearly, even though Brutus is an assistant commissioner of police, the fact that the allegation is against him is criminal in nature. Any police can investigate. Get that straight. You don't have to have anybody in any rank or so on to investigate. It's a criminal allegation of a criminal nature. So therefore, a consul can investigate the matter. It is not a disciplinary matter because Brutus being an assistant commissioner, given the current structure of the force, he cannot be investigated under the Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. He cannot be investigated under Chapter 1701 because Chapter 1701 says, 5.3 of 1701 says that you have to be investigated by a rank of sergeant, and in any case, a rank higher than the rank who is alleged to have committed the offense against discipline. Currently in the police force, the only person who can set higher in rank than Brutus is the acting commissioner Ikin. So he can be investigated, that's Brutus, under the Discipline Act. But if we're talking about a criminal allegation, which this is money laundering, money impropriety dealing with funds, any person in the force, regardless of the rank, can conduct that investigation. But the people are not competent to conduct an investigation. They don't have a credibility to conduct a proper investigation. Yeah, Colin, long ago I tell you, if you want an investigation into this, into May Thomas, into the drug smuggling, and into the gold smuggling, and all of these things, into the Sugate allegation, into the allegation with the paper charge murder, ask for the FBI to come and assist or conduct the investigation. Ask for agents from UK Scotland Yard to come, that's the British London Scotland Yard. Ask for the Royal Mounted Police to send people to conduct. Those are agencies that people believe are credible. But when you get anyone, who are you going to ask? So who going to investigate? Who will believe that they're going to do a credible investigation? The major crime unit you're going to ask to investigate? Who is going to investigate? Tell us that, but don't tell us that you have an investigation. Who is going to investigate? And one of the things you mentioned, CC, a while ago about the welfare fund, which we understand the raping the welfare fund. There is also the fine fund. And people don't remember that the fine fund, the police fine fund, in other words, there's a fund there called the police fine fund, where when they fine ranks who are charged with disciplinary offenses, you find them one, they pay two, they pay whatever is the amount that they pay, it goes into a fine fund, which is controlled by the Commissioner of Police. That is not PS. They say, the law says the fine fund is controlled by the Commissioner of Police, but is subjected to auditing by the Accountant General. Wonder what happened to the fund? Because all of those funds are now depleted. Wonder what? When last they had proper auditing of those funds and all of that? Yeah, so remember, welfare fund, yes, because the welfare fund is where every member of the force contribute every month. From your salary, a portion goes into the welfare fund. But then when we talk about the fine fund, is where people find, they're finding people 5 days pay, 3 days pay, up to 10 days pay, and all that. It goes into a fine fund. The fine fund is controlled by the Commissioner of Police. Let me understand this. There's a police fine fund. So maybe the Auditor General going to audit that fund, or they're going to see what is going on. Well, we understand this, what's going on. That is what is going on. But let me tell you another aspect of this thing. As we say, who's going to investigate? The old story is now, Brutus has been sent on leave. You know, not so long ago, just about a week ago, they had what they call the rotation. The rotation. Hey, this thing's sweet, you know. And again, the subject of the this talk this morning is the crisis in the management, senior management of the police force. So just about a week ago, we learned that, or maybe just over a week ago, that there was a change at the top. Brutus, the man at admin, was moved from admin to go to head special branch. The man at special branch, Assistant Commissioner Errol Watts, was moved to headquarters to go to take over from Budram, who was at operations. And Budram at operations was moved from operations to go and take over admin from Brutus. That's just over about a week ago, And then they claim with one, they came out, the police cooperate propaganda unit came out with a statement to say, oh, well, there's a routine management tool and all of that. Now, we made the point here, you don't rotate people at that senior level as a management tool. It was clear that something was afoot, but they don't want to admit it. But you don't admit, but then things come out. So they rotate, they move them down. Now, the question is, Bodram as admin, what's that operation? Brutus, who was sent at special branch, which was a foolish move, which was a stupid move, which was a backward move, which was retrogressive, send it to special branch. Now that he has been sent on leave, or now that he has asked to proceed on leave, who will take over special branch? My understanding is the second in command of special branch at the current moment is the triple jumper, the man who was promoted from inspector to superintendent. He is the second man there now at special branch. And I look into my crystal ball, abracadabra, and I can see a further effort to Indianize the command of the police force. I can see. So if Narain is left there, it means another Indian in a senior command position. If he is removed, they're going to find some other senior Indian to put there. Mark my word. An ethnic relation commission and all these people are attacking race, attacking facts. Time will tell who is going to replace Brutus at the head of special branch. The one of the foremost intelligence unit in the country. At least it ought to be, even though it now is not. Because we saw in recent times special branch men carrying out operations, arresting people, shooting people, killing people, and all this everything. So who is going to go there now? Let's wait and see, because I suspect that decision has to be made very, very quickly. And again, I say, my information is the man who is second in command is Superintendent Prem Narain, referred to as the triple jumper, because he jumped from inspector to superintendent. He had 3 promotions in the whole career in the police force: constable to corporal, corporal to inspector, inspector to superintendent. He is the second in charge of special branch. So if he's left there, then another Indian is in a command position in the force. And I am predicting, the crystal ball tells me that if they remove him, because I can't see them leaving a superintendent there, even though they're doing that other crazy thing now. So they're going to either promote him to senior superintendent or assistant commissioner, keep him there, or they're going to bring some Indian, I predict, to put them in charge of special branch. But let us see. Then the next thing I want to talk about here is that, as I said before, it's the same Brutus the president wanted promoted, And when we, as the members of the Police Office Commission, stuck to the rules, because as alluded to earlier, he had a pending disciplinary matter. And when we dealt with things, it's not about personality, there were rules to be followed. And the rule said that if you have a pending disciplinary matter, you cannot be considered for promotion until that matter has been concluded. And that is what we did. And that incurred the wrath of the president, suspended the commission when the commission had a mere 53 days more before its life automatically came to an end. Suspend the commission on the 16th of June 2021, when the life of the commission was due to end on the 8th of August 2021. And the judge ruled in the matter. I challenged it in the court. And the judge ruled that the suspension was unlawful, it was ultra-virus, it was unreasonable, all sort of adjective the judge ruled to describe it. And then the judge awarded, that was on the 23rd of April this year. The judge awarded cost $500,000. Up to now, he gave them 8 weeks to pay the money. Up to now, I made efforts to collect, can't get it yet. It's about 12 weeks now past. Come from the 23rd of April to now. Can't get it yet. And this animal farm. This is the animal farm that we live in. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. And we get more to talk, but let me bring in Mr. Conway at this stage. CC, any more comments on this thing?
All right. Before I comment, let me just make another point. And I'm going to close off with this financial irregularities. They need to find out, or remarks the question, who's supplying the police consumers in Rob Street? with articles? Who's supplying the police quartermaster with stuff? Who's supplying the police mess at breakdown with stuff? Who's supplying the police mess at the Felix Austin Police College with stuff? And what are the connections with the duets? The number one and then on the two person in the force. Now, let me talk a bit about intelligence. I mean, I'm not an intelligence officer, but I've been around. And special branch, that is the department that is expected to provide timely, insightful, objective, and relevant intelligence for the government to inform decisions on national issues and events. That is the body, and they're messing around with it. They're playing around with it. So how could they have proper intelligence, insightful, objective, and relevant intelligence when they're messing around with that body? The triple jumper, second in charge. And don't be surprised he can jump again. Don't be surprised if he jump as assistant commissioner, Paul. But here, a youngster who's in charge of Region 1 may very well be there, and the triple jumper might exchange places with him. But it's important that you look at the special branch intelligence section of the force. It is critical. I know we have the NISA, National Intelligence Security Agency. I think the Attorney General has filed some bill 5 of 2023 for it to be illegal. But that department is critical. How are you going to get actionable intelligence when you don't have a proper structure, you don't have a proper head? And look around the world, all over the world, all the countries get their own thing. We get the FBI in the United States. We get MI5 or MI15 if you call it in England. We get the Federal Security Service of the Russian Federation that replaced the KGB. We got national intelligence. We got when you talk about the Middle East, we got Israel get Shin Bet, which is the internal security, and then the powerhouse, the one that is second to none in the world, the Mossad. So each country has got to get a proper security service to give intelligence, and more so we have the Venezuelan claim, the Venezuelan threats, and we're messing around with our intelligence. And to deal with Venezuela, I always say that the president got to look at his dime. Diplomacy, the first line of defense. After diplomacy, you got to look at intelligence, the military, and the economics or economy, the dime. And intelligence is critical. And here we messing around with intelligence. We throw in the special branch aside. That's why maybe we can't solve crime, because we can't even get crime intelligence. So the special branch for me is critical, and they're just messing around with the special branch. Maybe God has got to help us here, Paul.
Yeah, we need divine intervention. We need divine intervention. We asked an interesting question a while ago. We wanted to know who supplying items. Let me get up this slide. Who supplying items to these places? Hold on one moment. Look, let me show this up. Now here you have, folks, what we seen there. The one to the left, this one. This is a company registered in the name of Calvin Brutus. This is a company registered in the name of Calvin Brutus. This one to the right is another company registered in the name of someone who is said to be the spouse of Calvin Brutus. So you have two companies, both registered last year, last year, June. One registered on June 20, June 23rd or something like that. I think the other one on June 20th. So you have two companies registered, one in Brutus' name One in a lady named Alda, and they said that this is Brutus's wife. And then look, what's going on. Items, watch items in some storeroom somewhere. As they said, these are items that are being supplied. This is the allegation, mind you. These are items that are supplied to the police force. Again, let me go back to the other slide and show you. Business, and these are public documents, we just do research and go get public document. So they can't come to say, your thief document. It's a business registered in the name of Brutus. A business registered in the next name, they say it's his wife. These are public documents, and his business is business going on. And I said before on this program that it would appear that these people are more business oriented. The police work is a side hustle. They use the authority in the police force to supply the masses with items at exorbitantly increased prices. I understand. That is the allegation. Allegation is that when items are ordered for the quartermaster store, for example, a reduced number of items are supplied. Let me explain the further. Let me say you order 1,000 of one items. The allegation is that they might supply 500 or 600 and bill you for the full 1,000. These are all allegations that should be properly investigated by credible sources. These are allegations that are out there floating around. How can people have confidence in the force when you have such serious allegations floating around and not investigating? How can people have confidence in Guyana when an allegation is made that the vice president that is taking $500,000 bribe to facilitate contracts for Chinese businessmen? No investigation. These are allegations that need to be investigated. And I said before in respect to the vice president, and I'm saying now with Brutus and all these people, they should welcome, if you are innocent, you should welcome an investigation to clear your name. Because until and unless a credible investigation is done, this stench will follow you wherever you go. So it is in your interest, I would think, to have a proper investigation. Just have to block one and then we come. We name something. Tell me what you tell me what ballot box. You tell me what how we racist, and he named Omar Yusuf. He said Omar OMAR YUSAF. I just get rid of it because he come here to tell me about ballot boxes being transported and all that sort of thing. That's what he come to tell us here about. So I just say bye-bye. I was to find out this thing. If how many of you are familiar with the term goodbye Felicia, bye-bye Felicia, something like that. And all the people who are modern and hip might remember that. Bye-bye Felicia is for Robin Roberts on Good Morning America. When they had this lady, Omar, what's the name was Trump aide, the black girl who was one of Trump aide there. When she finally get dismissed, bye-bye Felicia. Yes, Jason, bye-bye Felicia. So then we got to tell the Brutus, bye-bye Calvin, bye-bye, bye Felicia, bye Calvin. That is what we have to see, right? That is what we have to see. So you have all these allegations which should be investigated. Imagine Jagdio talking about conflict of interest in relation to Nigel Hughes and ExxonMobil. Again, war now, we pick up war now with Rutledge from ExxonMobil. But you have senior police officers who are supplying items to the force, senior police officers. There's nothing wrong with a police officer get open business, as Brutus did some thing. Nothing wrong with the wife establishing a business. But then to be supplying items to the force, are they tendering for these things? Is there a tender process? All of these things you have to ask. It is clear, it would appear that they get these things that they are single sourcing. So there's no competitive bidding. So whatever among whatever charge they charge for the thing they supply, you got to pay. And here the conflict. Because as Mr. Conway pointed out, the man at admin is the man who approves payment out to the police force. So imagine he has a company that will supply stuff to the police force. The invoice is submitted, and he has to approve the same invoice. That is clear conflict of interest. That is clear conflict, and they're not investigating those things. The vice president on one of his Thursday ramblings would not address that. Clear conflict of interest. Clear as crystal. Clear conflict of interest. And who can forget? Let me put back this picture. Who can forget Aiken and Brutus with the sandpit story, where the vice president at one of his Thursday ramblings said that they are daunting their application to operate sandpit on the Linden Suicide Highway. And my understanding is that they have acquired land in the area, and even though they might not be operating sandpit, they still get the land operating something or preparing to operate something. All of these things, senior police officers are more business oriented than taking care and than serving and protecting the interests of the citizens of the country. All of these people should go. And I made the point before, and let me repeat it here for emphasis again and again and again. For the Guyana police force to be reformed and to resemble anything like a modern police force, some senior people have to go. Brutus is one of them. The acting commissioner is one. Past the retirement age, he has to go. And talking about retirement age, it was clear, despite all of the blustering and what I said, it is clear to me that the president, Irfan Ali, likes what is going on. That is the only reason he could have extended Aiken beyond indefinitely beyond his retirement age, because if he was not satisfied with the performance of Aiken and the force, he would have done what was the correct thing, find somebody to replace him. But no, when last year, when he reached the mandatory age of retirement, we got a statement from the president saying Aiken will stay on for an indefinite period. So when all of these things coming on now, you got to blame the president. The money laundering, allegation that police robbed man $10 million, allegation that police, they crossed the river, spearheading, housebreaking, gang, and all this stuff. You got to go right, the buck stops right at the top. The buck stops at the top. And I say again, if you want any proper reform, some of the elements have to go. And I'm talking about the senior ones, because this, to me, this is the case where monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see. So them senior ones seeing politicians thieving, and they're thieving too. The junior ones who are so inclined seeing the senior ones thieving, and they're thieving too. And allegations are that many of them thief on behalf of. They collect bribe on behalf of. Those are the allegations, and you tell me you're going to have these things properly investigated. Let me bring him back, Mr. Conway. Let me bring him back, Mr. Conway, for him to get some more button, so to speak.
And let me take you on back with the sandpit. My information is that the work is still going on there. Don't worry what Jack Dio said. Things happening, and the standard duets utilizing the human resource of the Guyana police force and the other resources, the vehicles and other things are being used on this sandpit, human and other resources. And then up to this morning, I was reading the Bible. You can't do policing work without God. Can't do it without God. Remember, God was the first police officer. He had to police Adam and Eve, and he left a lot of things for us in the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. A lot of issues they're well documented to tell us how we must do policing. And what I read this morning, and this is where I close up on the sandpit, it's saying, where a man's treasure is, there's where your heart is. Where your treasure is, that's where your heart is. If you treasure up on the sandpit, there's where your heart will be. If your treasure, if your treasure is supplying things to the quartermaster store and the police consumers, everything, there's where you're gonna operate from, and they're gonna be your priority.
One of the students here, I agree. Nigel said birds of a feather, and I got to make sure I pronounce it correctly, stuck together. I want to get typed tongue at this time for them to accuse me of anything. Birds of a feather stuck together. Got to make sure I pronounce stuck correctly. And let me tell you something more how we going along. We talk about it just to show what going on in the force and demoralize police force. I've been associated with the force since 1973. Mr. Conway a little before me. And I could tell you, without any fear of contradiction, this is the worst it has ever been. And this is somebody who's been inside, now the outside looking in. I mean, they're going to say all sort of things. When you were there, people were corrupt. Yeah, we had corruption, but not at the degree and level that you have now. The unprofessional conduct, the extended degree of unprofessional conduct that you have going on now can never have existed back in the day. Even when I left in 2010, it wasn't that bad. Even then, it wasn't that bad. So when they come and they tell you, well, things they think that, yeah, policemen knew that when they were caught, they were going to be dealt with properly and sent to court, charged, and dealt with according to the law. But now, them thing ain't happening. Them thing ain't happening. No. And I can, back in the day, you would hear rumors. You can hear rumors that maybe a particular officer might be a little dishonest. Rumors. Far and between rumors. But no, almost every day you're hearing names called about who corrupt, who taking, and all this everything. You're hearing the names calling. The names are calling. And I know petty corruption we're talking about, In this Brutus case, $16.5 million to me. For them, that might be petty cash. But for me, there's big money. Big money. I have never seen $16.5 million of my own at one stage yet. So there's big money. Perhaps it's not big for them. To purchase a property in prime location for 50-something million dollars. Some say cash, some tell you get a mortgage. Well, I don't know what type of collateral a police officer is going to put up to get a property in Georgetown for 50-something million dollars. And therefore, again, the question is this man using his own money or is he laundering for someone? All of these things should be investigated. This is a Guyana police force, your primary law enforcement organization. You cannot have these rumors and allegations floating around without being properly investigated. And, in all of this, I have to ask the question. This morning, I saw the police at their annual awards presentation. At least not the annual, is the July month, the anniversary presentation. Something started by Larry Lewis some years ago. And I saw the Minister Robson being there. And I was surprised because I didn't know he's still about. When I saw him entering that venue there this morning, I was surprised. I did not know that there was still a Minister of Home Affairs. And someone asked me the question too, what happened to the National Security Advisor? All of these people collecting money under false pretenses. All of them. You are the next advisor to the Minister, Ari Gill. What happened to these people? What are they doing? All this going on. What are they doing? Police senior officer accused of money laundering. The same man, Brutus, it is alleged, the man gets several properties around the place. I have seen, I can show them at a subsequent program. Once I confirm that these properties are registered to him or his family, I can show you all them. The one that we showed earlier, Arlington somewhere, Arlington New Scheme, he has a property there. My understanding, he lives currently in the senior officer's quarters at Ivlery. That is where he resides. The question was asked, is he receiving house allowance? Because I know, I lived in police quarters for a number of years, that once you live in police quarters, you are not entitled to house allowance. And then to make matters even worse, the allegation is that this same man put his mother-in-law and his father-in-law to live in police quarters in Mounted Branch compound. The quarters that was formerly occupied by retired Superintendent King. That is the allegation. That is mother-in-law. Them not police. This father-in-law, not police, but he put them in police quarters. When you have police ranks who are clamoring for living quarters, married ranks want quarters, they can't get quarters because that too, the allocation of quarters at quarters and so on, that is a administration, the man in charge of administration, he handles that. So you have all of these things going on. And they say, oh, they're going to do an investigation. Who can comment? What will be the scope of the investigation? And let me be, first of all, if Brutus is an asked for vocation leave, then at some stage, the corporate propaganda unit should tell us how many days he has proceeded on. Has he requested to proceed on leave overseas? End up like Vikram Bharat, end up like Caesar, end up like May Tutan Thomas. And remember, folks, remember, when we tell you that the PS, May Thomas, when she was Home Affairs, she was the accounting officer for the force. And Brutus, the man in charge of admin, would have been the man dealing with finances in the force. And therefore, I suspect there would have been a lot of communication between the two. Perhaps the Fed has all, or the Feds have all of that information. This thing is wide, This thing is wide. All the people here getting pulled in for, as CC said, pulling for fitness at JFK and in Miami. Things are happening, folks. Things are happening. And again, we say the minister is silent. You're not hearing anything from the Minister of Home Affairs. I would suspect that, you're not hearing anything from the president either. The extended squatter, what's here? He ain't got nothing to say. The last time he faced the media at any formal conference was to debunk the allegation by Brutus that Caesar, the man in charge of major crime, took $30 million to cover up the People Charge murder. He and Branham turned out for a press conference to debunk that allegation, which turned out to be disastrous. A disastrous press conference. Since then, they've been facing the media at no conference again. You catch them on the sideline at some event, as Dennis Chebral did from the Moral Wave did on Wednesday, and then he lied to tell you that there's no, Brutus never attempted to deposit $16.5 million in the police credit union, and there was no investigation going on. And the next day, yes, the deposit was made, and yes, there is an investigation. They lie. They lie. They have absolutely no credibility. And to quote from Katie Knight, they are pathologically mendacious. Pack your things and go. That is what you should do. You get a commissioner, a man acting commissioner. Let me understand the gravity of this. The acting commissioner of police, who has passed his retirement age, is asked a question in the media about an incident that he ought to have knowledge of, the laundering, or he might want to describe it as laundering, the attempt to deposit $16.5 million. And he said nothing like that took place. And then he said no investigation ain't going on. And then when confronted with the evidence, and then evidence was presented the next day, they're telling us, yes, this matter is being investigated, and the officer in question has asked to proceed on leave to facilitate this investigation. That requires an immediate resignation of the commissioner, the acting commissioner. And the absence of a resignation, the president should ask him to go, but that is not going to happen. They want him there. They want what is going on to continue to go on. That is the only reasonable explanation one can come at. They want that because in the face of everything and all the evidence now that is presented to show that the commissioner lied to the media, he lied to the country, and he still sits there, what type of respect his juniors will have for him? What type of respect? I see he's shaking hand and taking something from somebody. All those things are perfunctory because nobody respects him. And even if they had a little respect, that alone should erode whatever little respect there was for the commission. The man lying, and it's not a one time, it's not his first rodeo. He lies. He lies all the time. And this is not now. We know that, we who know him know a long time, that anything he says, you got to take with a bag of salt. We know that. This is something we used to discuss. What the man is like bad. That is something we know. But now it is there for the public to see, faced with the evidence. So it's not slow who wants Jagdo wants to get an axe to grind. It's not Conway who might want to say is being vindictive and get an axe to grind. The public is presented with credible, compelling evidence to show that the man is a liar. And as I've said, in any organized society, governed by the rule of law, let me quote Nanlal. In an organized society, governed by the rule of law, Ikin, the acting commissioner, the extended quarter, would have, when Brutus go, they would have been holding hands. They made them his cousin, they were his family. When Brutus proceeded on leave, as they say, requested to proceed on leave, either they would have hold Matian or actually compound. They would have gone together. But that is not, this is Guyana, not a real place. So you're going to sit there and he's going to be interacting with members of the public and all this everything, and people will always have doubts as to whether he's in fact telling them the truth. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for his wrap-up, and then I'm going to do a wrap-up as well. So you see, just in case I miss anything more we need to add to this?
Not really. Well, somebody just sent me a text, Somebody just sent me a text. Very interesting. And asked me to find out which senior police officer and one of your lion friends building a hotel in Region 9. Which one of the senior officers and one of your lion friends building a hotel in Region 9? So like all around the show, business. Like they're not looking after policing, they're looking after business. And just to wrap up, I saw the program this morning for the awards ceremony. And here it is again. They had Budram, acting deputy commissioner. And they had Squatter Hicken as commissioner. So Hicken and acting. Hicken is confirmed as a commissioner, and Budram is acting commissioner. Perhaps last night the president made Budram an acting deputy commissioner, and Budram and Hicken a confirmed commissioner. So if that is so, let me congratulate Budram as acting commissioner and Hicken as confirmed commissioner, if that is it.
Now, what I would want to say, perhaps the Attorney General, Anil Nandalal, SC, LP, can clarify, because remember he had written something in the paper about the constitutional atrocity by the David Granger administration, where he claimed that Nigel Appy was appointed the commissioner of police without the constitutional process being followed. So now that they're carrying Ikin as commissioner and Budram and others as acting deputy, perhaps the Attorney General can tell us about this constitutional atrocity, because as far as I am aware, as far as the public is aware, I think I can take the liberty of speaking on behalf of the public on this matter. There was no consultation with the opposition leaders required by the Constitution. So there can be no proper appointment. There can be no proper appointment. But moving on, one of the things I forget to mention, I see the note here where we talk about Brutus being self-serving. That is the man who in December 2020 took the police service commission to court. He filed a fixed date application. And don't forget, he was joined by C. Prasad Bakas, Shiv Prasad Bakas, the commander region 6 now. Ravindra Stanley, I think he's the two I see somewhere, here around somewhere, Stanley. Chevron Jupiter, she's the superintendent somewhere around the place. Prem Narayan, they all joined to challenge a promotion that was not made. I think it's too wicked, these people wicked, and then around the place. I got to tell you all the story, I got to tell you all the story. They did that, held up the promotion from December until June 28th, when the Chief Justice ruled. June 28, 2021. And when the promotion was released, the Attorney General on the 29th of June, 2021, and a program he has issues on the news, on NCN, he said publicly that the government will not recognize the promotion. And they never did recognize 40-something of those persons who were affected. Well, I said 40-something, they didn't recognize no one. And then when they had the promotion 2 years ago, in 2022, 40-something people were not were affected by the promotion that they made. I think it's too wicked and wicked. And I blame those people who are affected. They sit down and they lay back and they're taking it. They sit down, lay back, and taking it. The next question I want to ask before I move on, before I close out, coming back to the police credit union, we understand they have a board of management and they have what they call a loans committee. It will be interesting to know the members of the loans committee. because my understanding is that Brutus is a member of that committee. So now that he has gone and leave, now that he has had this issue with the same credit union, is he still on the loans committee? Is he still on the loans committee? Because my understanding too, even though they're talking about the $16.5 million that was attempted to be deposited, laundered, an application was made for $150 million from the police credit union around the same time. $150 million, that was around December last year, for a loan for $150 million. So you have the loans committee. He's a member of the loans committee. I understand the secretary is the same post we refer to, the superintendent, woman superintendent Jupiter. It adds some other people like King, retired officer Keaton King, superintendent, Alison Moore, Das. Some names were called of those who are on this loans committee. In other words, they are the ones who sit to determine whether a loan should be approved or not. They sit in that committee. So again, the question is, in regards to the allegations about Brutus and that an investigation is to be launched, according to what they say, is he still a member of the committee? Is he still? And let me close by using my crystal ball again to say that I predict that whenever Brutus leaves, can we understand he hasn't left yet. He ain't hand over nothing as yet. When he leaves, it might very well be the last we have seen of him in the police force. That would be the natural and logical thing to do. Bye-bye, Felicia. The last we would have seen of him. But then they say he's a liar. Notwithstanding, he's a COVID liar. And when we say COVID, we ain't talking about him representing people with COVID. During the COVID period, he was not required to go to the law school in Trinidad. So they get whatever certificate, legal education certificate, without going through the law school. So we refer to them as COVID liar. COVID was good for some people. And then a liar like that, who laundering money and into all them open business that he can be caught so easily. Wonder who he representing. Wonder who he representing. He can go and put up a board on Crow Street, you know. Can go up on Crow Street or South Road and put up your board, attorney at law. Look for client. Get them tout for bring one man. Whether they get bicycle without like now, maybe one in decent language, even though you don't get indecent language thing now, where cost openly and so on. There's not an offense any longer. But one disorderly behavior, maybe he can deal with. And he might be one of those liars. They had some back in the day. All they do is to get up and talk about mitigation. So I will now fight your case. All they beg the magistrate to be lenient to my client, your worship. So folks, this has been a special session. And again, I am pleasantly surprised at the attendance. Pleasantly.